Welcome to Southwest Wyoming. You're watching Eastmans Hunting TV. I'm with Corky, my buddy again. We're hunting mule deer. This is gonna be awesome, so grab a deep seat.
Hi, I'm Ike Eastman, your host, and this is Eastmans Hunting TV. On today's episode, we're going to travel not so far to southwestern Wyoming on a trophy mule deer hunt with my little brother Ike. You know, we've had some rough winters in Wyoming, and it's been really hard on the deer, but I think there's a few big bucks yet to be had out there. Ike's going to be hunting in the second week of October, which is normally a really tough time to hunt mule deer. The weather's been hot and dry, but we're hoping for the best. So let's catch up with Ike as he heads to camp in the second week of October after trophy Wyoming mule deer.
That's a nice buck. He's a 3x3. He's really wide, but he's a 3x3. Pretty young bucks, hanging out with two other young bucks. One's a 4x3 and one's a little 4x3. So we'll let them live for another day. But he's wide for a 3x3. He's a wide buck.
We have a very long history of hunting mule deer in this area. Mike, Ike, and I have been hunting here for over 15 years now with our good friends, the Frautons. Through thick and thin, highs and lows, this area has had a few bad winters a few years ago and now is suffering from a drought. But finally, the deer in this part of Wyoming seem to be bouncing back ever so slowly. With its deep sage draws, secluded aspen pockets, and long ridges lined with buckbrush, this area is some of the best mule deer habitat in the country. And on a good year, this area can produce some of the best bucks in the entire state of Wyoming. So far, Ike and Corky have turned up a lot of younger bucks in the area, but they're looking for that one old moss-horned warrior that somehow has managed to make it through the bad winters and the drought.
These bucks will do that though, won't they? They'll just lay out here in the sagebrush. You won't know they're there unless you just happen upon them.
Really surprised he's by himself. His front forks aren't bad. I can't believe he's still standing there. Got a Roman nose on him, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's a nice buck. How about that? Look at that. By himself. Back over in the buck hole.
That's a great buck, guys. He sat there and sat there and sat there, of course, and I don't know, he jumped up and shook his head like something bit him or something, but you know, he's a great buck, especially for Wyoming this time of year, you know, with the winter that we had a few years ago and winter kill and all that stuff. But we just couldn't see what he was, didn't know what buck he was, and he jumped up and ran and didn't give us an opportunity, but we could find him again.
So far, the buck sightings have been plentiful, but Ike and Corky have yet to turn up the big mature type of buck they're searching for. The middle of October can be a very tough time of year to hunt mule deer bucks, as the bucks become very nocturnal. Ike is hoping a mature buck has moved into this patch of buckbrush.
There's another buck to his left. What's that about? Oh, he just ran him off. Did you see that? He just ran him off.
This is why I love hunting down here. Just buck after buck after buck after buck. Like a mule deer hunter's candy land.
That's a really good buck. He's just crabby on his left front. At first we thought he had a little trash, but really what it is he hasn't rubbed off his velvet yet, and it's kind of dangling on his back. But he's a really nice buck. We've seen some really nice bucks this year, and a ton of deer. He's hanging out with another buck that's real narrow, but he actually, that buck that he's hanging out with might even score better because he's got real deep forks. She just picked his head up. He's almost perfectly symmetrical.
Ike has decided to try to make a play on the white buck. But after he and Corky get onto the hillside the bucks were feeding on, it looks like the brush is a lot thicker and harder to see into than it was from across the canyon. The guys eventually turn up the smaller bucks, but the big buck is nowhere to be found. The next morning, the guys head back into the same area to try and relocate the big buck that gave them the slip the day before. Again, the younger bucks are feeding on the brush, but they can't seem to turn up the big buck anywhere.
The end of this ridge. See if we can find that buck. He should be bedded down over there. We sat and watched and watched and watched. We never see him again leave. So we'll give it all the old college try.
When you find yourself hunting mule deer during the middle of October, you have to be dedicated and persistent. Ike and Corky have been looking over this patch of brush in this drainage for 2 solid days now, waiting and hoping the big buck will make a mistake and show himself one final time before the end of the season. Just about when Ike thought it was all but over, Corky spots the big buck trying to escape through the brush right underneath them.
Look at this old dude. Look at this old dude. Look at that. Look how heavy that buck is. He's a mossback. Look at all the, been raking and, oh, let's get him up out of that bush. Look at this. He hasn't even rubbed off. Big old mass. Good Lord, look how massive he is in web. He's just a bruiser of an old buck coming off the drought. Look at his big old Roman nose and gray face. So we took this great buck. Dad's on the other side of the ranch. Hopefully he's had some success. It's been a great hunt. I appreciate Corky, and they invite us down every year. It seems like Corky and I have been doing this since we were in high school. This deer's an old buck. You can see his big old Roman nose. I mean, he's got webbing that won't stop. He's got all this stuff going on down here. He's got big old huge bases, got real nice main beams. He's just a great representation of a great buck in Wyoming. I'd like to thank Corky and his family, Wendell and Debbie and Betty and Nate, for coming out and hanging with us, letting us come out. Thanks for watching today, and remember, fair chase is the only way to hunt and take trophy big game. We'll see you next week on Eastman's Hunting TV.